Welcome to episode 4 of the 2023 Run for the Million preview show here on Up for Discussion. Today we're going to highlight Who's Joe Daddy, a little Joe Cash, out of Miss Sunshine Annie, that's going to get shown by Dan Huss. Opposite end of the spectrum on this one is Dan is one of the older riders competing, and Who's Joe Daddy, Jojo, is one of the younger horses competing. So we're going to jump right in, his Cactus Classic run, see where he marked a 227, and come back and discuss afterwards what his chances are. And here we are back at Cactus Reining Classic in 2023, the Run for the Million qualifier, as we're going to watch Dan Huss and Who's Joe Daddy. Obviously, if you've ever watched Dan show a horse, you know that headstall and that breast collar are almost always on his horses. I don't know if it's a luck thing or anything. I've never asked him about it, but it's a very common thing. Gets pointed out a lot. So we're going to start here. Obviously, these guys are running pattern 14. So we're going to see a left turn to start with. And I want you to note, Who's Joe Daddy is very quick-footed, very steady, very fast-moving. He's a little different style than what we've seen so far, in that his feet stay a little bit more forward of his shoulders when he turns. It doesn't take away from it. It's still a good turner. He's still right there, very technically correct, very straight and upright in the shoulders, and that's something, if you know Dan at all, you know he loves his horses to be hyper technical, very correct, and style is not as important to him as the technicality of what the horses do. Now, I love the way this horse circles, because there's a lot of expression in its face. Even there, when its ears are back, it's a focus thing. It's not a mad thing. It is so expressive. It is so good and pleasant to watch. Great balance, lots of lift in the shoulders as it lopes, and you notice it kicks up and drives underneath a little more. I love seeing that in a horse when I'm looking at a horse, not from a judge's standpoint, just from watching horses and liking them. Real smooth, everything. Once again, you're going to hear this a lot in Dan's run, is technical, correct. Lots of things that work that way for him. Another thing I want to point out with Dan here is he has the ability to challenge this horse and not be picky on him and just let him be great. This is a great matchup for this group. It's very good to excellent every time you're looking at it and what he's doing. It's driving through. It is all what we want to see. And I mean, just great slowdown, good movement, everything that you want to see. This is why this horse is picked. And you're about to see what his best actual maneuver is in the next thing. But you see where he's super hyper technical, like I said. Everything's very correct. Everything's very in control at all times, no matter how much Dan challenges the horse. That's an easy likability factor for this horse. It's great eye appeal. It's all those things that you want to see. Now, when this horse goes to the ground, watch how deep he gets. And once again, he is very, very technically correct, and especially the section of being in the ground. Now, in his rundown on that side, there's a spot there where, and I can't tell what it is, if it's that he's opening his stride more or if he is slowing down. Either way, he stops so big that it doesn't matter much, but that's the one thing. If that gets a little smoother, that's going to be even a bigger plus for Dan on what this horse's strength already is. And I want to point out this too as he comes to his second stop here at his right rollback. This horse is almost stylish over function, but it's in the slightest measure because he's so functional and he's so good in that way. But there's so much style and pretty and eye appeal to this horse when he does the things he does. Now there is one last, and it's not even a negative. This is actually a positive, but it can turn into a negative if you're not careful. And Dan is very good at managing this kind of thing, and that is how much this horse tries for him. Watch this horse in this stop when he finishes the stop and goes to the backup. His feet are scrambling so hard because he's trying to get to the next thing and trying to be so willing. That is a wonderful thing to see on a horse. You always want to see it, but there is a time where that over-try can get you in trouble if you're not careful. But that was a great run. That's a great horse. Dan's going to be a lot of fun to watch. So, you see why that horse qualified, and you see what made him such a good threat. But you also see one of the hidden secrets in the industry is people forget how good of a showman Dan Huss is. He's also been an excellent trainer for years, producing many top horses, including, you forget, he's competed at this level before, back in the days before the Run for the Million. He was a silver medalist at the WEG on Miss Dreamy, so there's very much chance that Dan could surprise everybody, jump up there, and end up near the top of the pile after the end of this. So, as usual, hope we all cheer for Dan and pull for him. Hope he makes the best run he's ever made and gets a shot at these guys. So, with that, I'm going to sign off. Like, comment, share, subscribe on the YouTube channel, on the Facebook page, and I will see you all tomorrow with episode 5.